Okay, there we go. Looks like Ebonair is on the move. I will be in there in a second. There we go. All right. So, again, welcome back if you're watching and if you're joining us and you were with us last night. I guess a bit of a recap. Ebonair is a player that we started spectating, myself and Harrison Massey started spectating last night to kind of show a little bit about show a little bit of the functionality with the NetHack version, or the Telnet version of NetHack. Unfortunately, Harrison wasn't able to make it tonight. But that stream went really, really long because we really wanted to see sort of how a very late game version of NetHack kind of runs. We've never seen an Ascension ourselves. We've probably read plenty of Ascension stories, which are always fascinating. It's interesting to see that this is just a thing that's still active, that there's a lot of people that still keep a Telnet client going. Right now what we're streaming is a little bit different from Putty from last night, because last night we just did a straight Telnet connection, but we found out from Ebonair that he's developed a graphical Telnet client, specifically for NetHack. So I was playing around a bit with the tiles earlier tonight, and so we've got here, from the looks of things, is just fire, if not fire, then walls. Pretty sure that's walls. But anyways, and he's kind of fighting some hellhounds. I might turn off the tile sets every now and then, just for fun here and there. But yeah, this is the elemental plane of fire. So I'll be trying to look up stuff as much as I can, because this is, again, pretty far outside of my level of expertise. So far it looks like the invisible archon. Okay. It looks like Ebonair is kind of holding their own against all this stuff, like high level of fire resistance. They have reflective armor. I feel like this graphical client actually has a lower level of latency that the Telnet client really kind of suffers from. It's probably one of the few things that kind of keeps me from using it as much as I would, say, the one on my phone. And the upside is also across. I have this cropped out, but across the top of Ebonair, the Ebonair client, there's a series of menus that are clustered in terms of like magic or inventory or move or action or gear. So if you want to, you don't necessarily have to memorize all of the commands as you would if you were just using a raw Telnet terminal. So anyways, to commemorate the occasion, I had a bottle of Harry Porter and the bourbon-soaked vanilla bean. It's from the Great Lakes Brewery. It seemed appropriate. It was either this or Hacker Shore, which I figured would be also kind of appropriate, but so I just opened that because why not? It's going to be a little bit more informal than last night's episode, mostly because I'm just trying to follow along with what Ebonair is doing, and kind of keeping pace with it. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning that 7:30 Central. Oh, hey. Sorry, Ebonair's messaging. or engraving here. Oh wow. The tiles definitely play merry havoc with the messages. So this is kind of roughly what it looks like without the tiles here. So there we go. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, actually, I hadn't really considered even asking if Ebonair had Skype and was interested in Skyping in. I just figured that they'd probably want to, or he would probably want to, kind of focus on this stuff. But yeah, I mean, hey Ebonair, if you are interested, let me know and we can figure something out. But we are also taking, or at least I guess specifically I'm taking suggestions for... Oh, right, okay. Alright, yeah, give me a minute and I'll get some Skype up and going. That might make things a bit easier. We are taking recommendations for further games to take a look at in the future. I've got a huge backlog. I feel like I should probably just put that up on the Tumblr, where I've been, where I've been kind of posting the general write-ups, the after-action reports. I don't know how you want to call them. Which is robotparking.tumblr.com. Oh yeah, I added him yesterday. So yeah, if there are any games that you'd like to see us give a shot, expert level play the game. So Miniature Catfish is saying that they're curious about the relationship between expert level play of a game this deep and games criticism. I guess relationship how? Yeah, so Miniature Catfish is saying, you know, the Rogue Legacy does interesting things with the death metaphor, even as it's not a true roguelike. I guess, yeah, in a lot of my write-ups, I've been kind of wrestling with, what does it mean to say that something is a true roguelike, even within the community and outside of the community, like from a genre perspective, to say that something's a roguelike, and actually, does that term mean anything, or have any intrinsic meaning, or is it more a way to sort of... I've seen a lot of the infighting around that term kind of come out as a sort of, I was here first, so why are you trying to take this away from me? Whereas it would be probably more fruitful to look at that stuff as part of a larger tradition of game development, especially when you look at how much game development is about taking different mechanics and kind of mashing them together in other games. So for me, I would actually consider Rogue Legacy part of that, but I would probably look at finding a better term than roguelike. The problem I found is that basically the games that we use to define the term roguelike are not actually very much like rogue. And I know that there's another interpretation of the term roguelike, which is the Berlin interpretation. But it's kind of... just one sec, I gotta type for a second. Apparently I can't type and talk at the same time. Yeah, I understand that there's a fair bit of difference between something like NetHack and Rogue Legacy, just in terms of the sheer number of features there. And I feel like that's still something worth looking at, but I feel like there's almost, situating it seems odd to try to draw this weird line around something like NetHack and then games that are explicitly in dialogue with those mechanics, but we're just arbitrarily cutting them off at the knees by virtue of I don't understand the logic of that. Anyways, so we're getting and then games that are explicitly in dialogue with those mechanics, David? But we're arbitrarily cutting them off at the knees by.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Fantastic. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. Ready to do some Ascension?
Yeah. So you've been playing NetHack for how many years?
Oh, maybe 10 or so.
Okay.
Something like that. I think it was 10 years ago that I started working on Ebonair.
So was that like when you first started playing NetHack, you generally immediately started work on Ebonair, or like how did that wind up coming about?
Well, I was playing the single player version and I wanted to play online, but I just couldn't quite hack the ASCII graphics.
Okay.
So I made something called NetHack a leg, which was written with this kind of a gaming library for the C programming language.
Okay.
And then I later ported that to become Ebonair.
Okay. So you'd actually played the single player for a chunk of time before you wound up doing the.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how long. Maybe a year or something.
Is this kind of like the only roguelike that you wound up playing, or is it more? Like
yeah, it's the only like I play.
Sorry?
It's the only one that I play.
Okay. So you haven't really gone out and checked out, Ancient Domains of Mystery or...
No, I thought to myself, when I get bored of NetHack, I'll be looking at different ones. I looked at Dwarf Fortress very briefly.
Yeah, Dwarf Fortress, for me, it's a really phenomenal thing to look at. And for some reason I was able to put in the time and find like the right guides to kind of get a handle on that game. It's been a while since I've gone back to it, but every now and then I'll swing around to it and I'll put another 20 hours in and kind of relearn how to do a lot of the, like, how do you set up a farm and how do you get a fortress running properly. But it's just in terms of the sheer number of things that you can wind up doing in that game is staggering. And it's kind of weird to see how they wound up handling like sort of a 3D space in sort of this 2D ASCII. Like there are tile sets out there that make it easier, but yeah, if NetHack was bewildering, Dwarf Fortress is doubly so, even in ASCII mode. Like at least in NetHack I kind of know what's going on, but outside of that, Dwarf Fortress is just bewildering when you don't have tile sets.
Yeah, it's got quite a steep learning curve. I never made it very much past the amateur level.
Yeah.
Or maybe perhaps novice level.
Yeah. So you've ascended twice in the past?
Yeah. Once normally, and once I did some kind of insane 7 conduct ascension.
So what was it? How did you do it? What is a 7 conduct ascension first? And so I assume that's basically like you didn't.
It's basically the conducts I have now. So let me just put them up. Yeah, so no genocides, no polymorphing objects. So that's a common thing you could do with Wands of Polymorph, right? You get magical items and you stack them together and you make different magical items that maybe you would want. Changing forms, so polymorphing yourself. And then wishes actually counts as 2. So no wishes for normal things and no wishes for artifacts.
Oh, okay.
And then I also did Atheist and Weaponless. So that was...
How does Weaponless work?
Well, I was playing with a wizard, so I was going to think to myself, well, I'm a wizard, so I should be relying on my spells. So I tried to do it like that, but it's still very hard. I mean, you don't have enough magic points to like kill everything with spells, right? So you still have to do a lot of combat.
So you just did fisticuffs every time you encountered that stuff, and like, so I guess, do thrown items count as weaponless?
No, so you can still throw daggers.
Okay.
So that's basically what the saving grace is.
Yeah, that sounds like that's a huge. You just stack a whole bunch of daggers and hope for the best. Because I can't imagine, like, floating eyes are particularly easy to deal with if you try to punch them.
Well, you could always throw rocks at them if nothing else, but that can take forever.
Mm-hmm.
Or darts. I think I might just use up my last charge on the Orb of Detection to find the portal here. And try to just find the portal in the plane of water by walking into it.
Okay.
Because I'm not getting very far here. Let's see.
So I'm correct in the assumption that the curlicue brackets are fire, basically, like the orange squares all around you. I'm not sure which tile set you're using, but
lava.
Okay. And so your armor is generally pretty. You seem pretty well equipped to wander around. You seem like you had less trouble here in terms of just getting damaged than you did in the previous level.
Well, I mean, the plane of air is just nasty. Those air elementals will engulf you, and plus, since they're on their native plane, air elementals there have twice the hit points, and they do just terribly punishing damage when they engulf you. So here I've got my negative AC and my fire resistance to keep me safe.
Mm-hmm.
But there, I usually like to wear a ring of regeneration or something.
Okay.
And keep some potions of full healing or a tin of nursed meat or something handy.
So the purpose on these levels is basically just to make it out. Like, you're not, you don't have to kill anything and retrieve any items at this point. You're just booking it for the exit. Yeah.
Okay, I see where it is. Let me just put on my ring of levitation here.
Okay.
Don't get into the lava very badly.
So the part that you're aiming for is in the middle area, right?
Yeah, it's just to the right of me there.
Okay.
Oh, it's an Archon. Well.
Ah. So, okay. The Archon has an ability to create monsters, or is that summoning?
Yeah, it's called the Summon Nasty spell. It's not just any monsters, it's
a bunch of
nasty ones.
Great.
However, let's see what I can do about making the Black Dragon disintegrate him. Oh, he might be wearing a shield of reflection, though. Okay, I think I just have to take out that Argon. This is getting ridiculous.
Every time I've played any roguelike, whenever I've found myself surrounded with monsters, typically that I was done at that point. But I've seen you get surrounded by monsters very frequently and just kind of muscle through it and come out all right, which has been really impressive.
Well, I've got minus 26 AC, so that'll keep me safe, and plus level 30, so I'm regenerating hit points. So your AC doesn't just make you harder to hit, it also reduces the damage they do to you. Mm. But some monsters, like that Vampire Lord over there, can drain my levels.
Oh, okay. And so, that would reduce your HP regeneration and...
Yeah, or the Cockatrice can turn me to stone instantly.
Ah.
Alright, let's get this guy. Okay, he's gone.
Miniature Catfish is saying in the chat that they love the depth of problem solving that goes into moments like this. It's been fascinating. Every now and then you'll it was clear when you'd like run into something and then you'd be checking your inventory to like in my mind, it was like, okay, he's seeing what options does he have open to himself, like open now to deal with this. But I imagine at a certain point, you also just kind of know what you have and you know what you're capable of, and you run into these situations and kind of have a general sense of what to do.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the standard nasties can't affect me very badly. So it's just a matter of finding the dangerous ones and dealing with them with like some kind of ranged attack.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Wizard of Yendor
Yeah.
can appear.
Okay, so this is you made it to the water plane.
Yeah, so now I must find the portal here.
So does water have any adverse effect on you
Um,
in this area?
this water is particularly bad because you can't use boots of water walking on it. Supposedly you're inside of a bubble of air.
Okay.
But some odd reason, rings of levitation still work. So, I mean, I don't know how that fits into the metaphor.
Yeah, in one of the roguelites that I've streamed, Brogue, if you fall in the water, in like the deep water, you just start losing your items start floating away from you. See, anything that you're not wearing, basically, you have to start swimming to go and catch, or wait until it winds up drifting back to shore. And it can get really, really frustrating, especially if you're dealing with, there are monkeys that will steal stuff in the area. And so I've gone into deep water because I was dumb, and then, had a food ration float away, and then had a monkey steal that and then run off, and I starved to death while chasing that monkey.
They have monkeys here too.
Okay.
But the main thing about water here is your metal items will rust.
Yep.
And your spell books will become blank pages of spell books of blank paper, and your scrolls will become scrolls of blank paper, and your potions will become potions of water. So it's generally not a good idea to go swimming. Okay.
So after this is the astral plane, and then is that the point where you're running into the Four Horsemen?
Yes. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay.
I've also been interested to see, like, there's no real, like, stealth mechanic. Like, there's no way to necessarily be particularly stealthy in this game and sneak through areas or anything like that.
You can. But, like, I am currently invisible at the moment, and stealthy. So
Okay.
monsters will sometimes not come directly towards me, because they can't see where I am.
Gotcha.
But it's hard to be stealthy when you don't know where the exit is. I mean...
You're kind of just running around hoping you find it.
Yeah. This is not good.
So there are occasional points where it looks like the water kind of clears out around you.
Yeah, those are supposed to be bubbles of air.
So that's kind of where you get a view of sort of a wider range of the area rather than just...
Well, if I wasn't floating in the air, like, that's solid ground that I could be standing on.
Okay. And is rust still an issue for you at this higher level with the general level of gear that you have?
I'm not wearing any metal armor because that interferes with spellcasting. And
is that communicated in the game at any point in time?
Well, I guess you can, when you look at your spells that you can cast, you can see the failure rate. And then if you put on metal things, it'll go up. But other than that, there's nothing that says, you suddenly feel like you are less able to cast spells or something.
Okay, all right. So what, I guess first of all, like, what type of armor, like, what is your armor made out of? And did you have to craft that yourself, or was it just were you happening across it throughout the dungeon? Oh, dragon scale armor and
Yeah, so the dragon scale mail, like since I went wishless, I couldn't just wish for it. But I used a cursed scroll of genocide. So basically, you read a scroll of genocide, you can wipe out all creatures of a given species, right? Forever.
yeah.
And if you read a cursed one, though, it just sends some in. So if you read one, I got, I think, 4 silver dragons sent in.
Oh,
And I killed them, and then I got the dragon scales that you can craft into scale mail.
okay. So the crafting system, like, is that just forging armor? Like you have to find some sort of crafting area. Like this is the extent of my noobness with this game, where I've never encountered anything along those lines because I've never gotten far enough to have materials worth crafting.
I don't think... Is there anything else you can craft besides dragon scale armor? Don't think so. Not in vanilla NetHack.
Okay.
What you do is you just put it on, and then you read a scroll of enchant armor, and it'll just say, your scales merge together and harden, and then voila.
Okay, so it's more just enchant armor, and it will...
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that Vorpal blade I got from...
The Jabberwock, I assume?
No, from sacrificing at an altar.
Okay.
You get random artifact items if you keep doing that.
How long... Like, does it matter what level the altar is at?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You just keep offering corpses to the altar, and eventually stuff will come out.
And when did you part ways with your pet?
Oh, right off the bat.
Yeah?
Since I was not going atheist, I figured, I can ID all my stuff.
Okay.
And some people will say that's silly because you should keep your pet around because it's a pretty good fighter. But I don't know. I find them to be more of a nuisance.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out... I just accidentally left them behind in the past because I didn't realize that they had to be within a square of me when I descended. So I've just left them behind at certain points. Like, I think they need to be within a certain proximity of you when you go down a level, otherwise they don't find you. Or something
Yeah,
to that effect.
one square away.
Yeah. So I just left them behind where, as someone who's not super proficient at the game, the extra help is very much needed, and I rely on them to kind of give me a general sense of what items do in terms of, if something is cursed or blessed or whatever, or at least cursed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. If you can't find an altar, your pet's very good, especially in the early game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I need that out. Yeah, so I'm basically floating around in this bubble, hoping to find the portal.
It looks like there's some passive water elementals there too.
Yeah, since I'm neutral, water elementals will sometimes be generated peaceful.
Huh. Is that all elementals, or is it just the water elementals that can be...
Oh, look at that!
Oh, nice! A malignant...
First.
A malignant aura.
Yeah, all elementals, and, what else? A few other neutral things, I forget exactly what. Generally, it's not that useful. I think some centaurs might be. Oh, and they cursed my lizard corpse. Very good.
Is it actually a very good thing that happened?
No, I just have that out because eating lizard corpse will protect you from being stoned.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, so if you feel yourself slowing down, that means you are one turn away from dying.
Yes, I've encountered that at some point. So, yeah, because I fiddled around with, like, Slash 'em as well, which is kind of a... It seems like it's NetHack, but a bunch of extra stuff thrown in there. And I don't know why, but I wound up getting farther in Slash 'em than I did in NetHack. And I'm not quite sure. I'm not really sure how. Would you advise on someone who's kind of new, turning on wizard mode just to kind of see how things look deeper down into the dungeons, or is it more beneficial just to kind of get a better sense of how to play the early levels right?
Because I wanted to experience it for myself. But it's definitely a strategy that people use. Especially since the first time I made it to the astral plane, wizard mode would have been great
Oh,
because I died there.
oh no. That's gonna be so. Well, yeah, I don't know. Like, was that a frustrating moment for you, or was it more like this is the farthest I've ever gotten? This is something to be proud of.
A little heavy. Yeah, I was. My hands were shaking.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
yeah, that makes sense. I'm watching you last night. I was like astonished at how anxious I was feeling just on your behalf because I was like, this is. I wasn't. I didn't check how long you've been playing this particular game, but I was like, this can't be a trivial amount of time.
Yeah, especially if you look at the turns, it's like pushing 90,000 turns already. That is kind of embarrassing for how long it took me to get here.
So
But
what is the standard turn count to kind of get?
um, the other times I think I did it in under 60, but there's people who will do it in like 20,000 turns,
Wow.
especially if they're trying for fast ascension. Okay,
Are you going? You going through?
let me just check my gear one more time. I've got the food. Oh, I should eat some of this food because famine will drain your nutrition.
Oh right.
Yum, yum, yum. Do I have anything else in here that I can eat? Oh, yeah. Don't want to waste my high quality food.
The piranha bites the water elemental.
Yeah, they're all in. I have a ring of conflict on, is what it is.
Oh. So it just basically turns into Doom, where all the monsters are willing to fight each other.
Yeah, it makes nearby monsters fight each other, but it won't work on the horsemen, and very high level monsters will resist.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm going in.
Let's do this.
Oof.
I sense alarm, hostility, and excitement. The desire for conflict will be fulfilled. All right.
So when you show up with wearing a ring of conflict, you get some hostiles sent in to fight you. Now I have to decide which way to go. So I have two options. I could basically jump and teleport my way to the nearest altar, and then sacrifice the amulet. Or I was thinking about having some fun with the horsemen.
All right.
I have 30 some scrolls, cursed scrolls of create monster. So what you could do is you kill a horseman, he comes back in like 13 turns.
Yep.
But if he's got nowhere to spawn, he just dies permanently.
Yeah, that was. I was talking about that a bit last night. I heard that was a strategy where you flood the level with acid blobs.
Yeah.
Is it? And they can't spawn anywhere. And I guess the acid blobs don't really do anything to you. Or
no, they're actually passive creatures.
Oh.
You'll get splashed with acid if you hit them. Is about it.
Okay.
Although, as I'm generating conflict, I'm sure other creatures will start to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably have to take that off. I wonder, there is some chance whenever you monkey around with horsemen
that they just outright kill you?
You will die. Well, maybe I'll play it by ear. I'll start with jumping.
Yeah. So you just jumped and it automatically teleported to the nearest altar?
I wish.
Yeah.
No, just jumping makes you move a little faster.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think I should kill this thing.
Points at you and then curses the invisible master liches.
And you can see one of the horsemen there. Which one is he? Famine. So he will drain my nutrition.
Okay. That's the one through the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since I have the orb of detection, I have extrinsic telepathy, so I can see nearby creatures.
Is that the same kind of telepathy that will make you afflicted by the mind flayers still? For like their psychic blasts?
Oh yeah, but I mean those are just, they do tiny damage. Main thing with those blasts, those mind flayers, is the sucking tentacles. Because you might have noticed in the previous game, some of the dungeon areas were unexplored.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about those ones.
Oh, I see. So you're also just surrounded by angels as well here.
Yes. Oh dear.
And a priestess of Moloch.
And famine.
This... Uh-oh.
Well, let's see. He's only got about 80 hit points, so...
And soldier ants, of course. So it looks like magic missiles are flying all over the place.
Yeah, I have nothing to worry about those.
Yeah.
They're just each other with them.
The priestess of Moloch is pointing at you and cursing a whole lot.
Alright, famine, take that.
Wow. I've heard that if you pick up the corpse or something like that, like they will just respawn at some point. Or the corpses are extremely heavy, or
He'll respawn instantly if you try to pick up the corpse or tin it or anything like that to dispose of it.
oh, okay.
I am burdened, which is no good. Oof.
So what's burdened you?
I just took some wands of teleportation out of my bag of holding.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see what kind of priest we have there.
Priestess of Quetzalcoatl?
Peaceful high priestess does not help me. Maybe I'm...
It also looks like the astral plane has a static map.
Yes. But the positions of the altars are different.
Okay. And you have to find... It looks like there's 3 altars, and you have to find the right one, I assume.
Yes, although I can cheap out because I have a helmet of opposite alignment.
Okay.
So that'll randomly change my alignment to either lawful or chaotic. So
Okay.
if I find one of those altars, I have a chance of just ascending anyway. Oof.
The Renegade Priestess. Someone's talking about ripping out your lungs, which is always cheerful talk. Yeah, as Miniature Catfish mentioned at one point, the interest in they're interested in the relationship between sort of expert level play of a game and sort of general games criticism. So myself and Harrison are both in sort of humanities programs. He works in terms of communication. I'm more in video game studies, digital media stuff. And just in terms of there's always this looming question of like how much of a game do you need to play to be able to write about it sort of in any kind of critical or reasonable way, and that gets really tricky when you start talking about a game like NetHack because there's so much depth to it and there's so many parts of it that you're probably never going to see yourself, unless you just put in that kind of a really intense amount of time. Is that priestess just sitting on that altar?
I am sitting on the altar.
Okay.
Correct altar.
All right.
So let's just take a peek at what there was.
Oh my god.
So there's 3 altars, one in the middle, one on the right, and the one I'm at. And each one has a random chance of being the right one.
Yep.
And as luck to have it, this is the right one.
This is fantastic. So there's some horse folk kind of out to the middle of the map and the right, and then it looks like Famine hasn't respawned yet. I don't think.
There he is.
Oh, okay.
I see that his corpse is still there because you can't update that with telepathy.
Okay.
You can't see corpses with telepathy, so it's
Yeah.
just remember he was there.
Yeah, you remember that there was something there or whatever, yeah.
Okay, and just for
The moment of truth.
Prince, oh, I don't have enough. Well, I'm sure this has got to be the real amulet.
That's what you're trying to figure out last night when you were trying to rename it, right?
Yeah, it didn't work for me though. Maybe that's something they changed because the Wizard of Yendor will have a fake amulet on him sometimes, and if you offer that, I don't know exactly what happens, but bad things.
Yeah. All right.
You are bathed in radiance.
Congratulations, mortal.
And
Congratulations, mortal. You're now immortal.
sweet. Sure, identify my position.
I love that that's the prompt that comes up. It's the same prompt that you get when you're dead.
Yeah, well, that's how you die, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not tuned into your feed because it's it interferes with what I'm hearing from Skype, but you might want to hit the home key if you're seeing.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's getting some tiles in there. There we go. Wand of Wishing, Blessed Magic Lamp. Did you actually encounter any genies living inside the magic lamps?
No, I went wishless, so I didn't rub any lamps.
Oh, okay. So, like, if you rub a lamp, and the genie is friendly, you are immediately thrown into make a wish. Like, you can't refuse the wish if the genie comes out.
You can wish for nothing.
Okay.
But, magic lamps in and of themselves are useful because they're a never-ending light source, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's things like jumping. You have to be able to see where you're landing.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's all my intrinsics.
Cold resistant, sleep resistant, disintegration resistant. You're invisible to others.
Monsters accidentally ate another gnome. Yeah,
so you were a cannibal?
Yes. I was like, oh, extremely lucky. That's from the luck stone.
You had extra luck. Good luck did not time out for you, and you survived.
Sure, super features.
Wow. 8 times. You killed the Wizard of Yendor 8 times.
Yeah, he's a bad one.
Yeah. I totally forgot that he would just respawn and chase you all the way out. I played a little bit of Sword of Fargol, and in that game, I don't think you get chased by the same monster, but other monsters will just steal the sword from you and run away, which is frustrating in its own self, in its own way.
Yeah, I mean, he will steal the amulet.
Okay.
And he will also steal your quest item, which is why I had to use Magic Bane there for my magic resistance for a little while.
Mm-hmm. List of species genocided or extinct. The soldiers are extinct? Just because you killed all of them, or...?
Yeah, you can only have... Like, those Erenyes, or however you pronounce that, there can only be 3 of them, so they're super easy to extinct.
Okay.
And soldiers, if you do Fort Ludios, there are just endless hordes of soldiers in there. So between that and the castle levels, there's not too many soldiers left in the. Sure, I'll see my conduct. Yeah, and there's my 5 conducts.
So what's next now that you've ascended? You gonna try for a pacifist run or something like that? Like,
I might try for a weaponless run, but I think for the immediate future, I'm going to take a break from playing.
yeah,
It's been a lot of playing.
yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for letting us look in on this. This has been really, really fascinating.
No problem. Made it kind of more interesting for me as well to have some spectators.
Yeah, like I don't like. Do you wind up having a lot of spectators when you play on the Telnet version, or
Usually not.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like on the Freenet chat area, like it shows them when somebody finishes the quest and when somebody starts their ascension run. So people who are interested can view. So sometimes you'll get a viewer that way.
okay? Huh? Yeah, because every time I've randomly spectated people, they've always seemed very surprised.
Yeah, usually doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
People are more interested in playing it themselves, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I have my own game that I'm very, very slowly working my way through. Like, I'll just have the client open kind of all day at work, and on a 15-minute break or something like that, I'll poke around and do a couple things, but I won't get super far for the most part. But it's still it's for me, it's a thing that I keep going back to because I've been banging my head against it off and on since 2003. So at some point in time, like, on my deathbed, I'll ascend, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm good. I can check out now.
Yeah. I guess the main advice I would have is bless your magic lamps before you rub them. And play it slow.
Yeah.
So many times I've seen people die, they just run into a blue jelly and like hit left 5 times and I'm dead.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much actually when I did my Brogue stream. The first time I encountered a jelly, I just ran directly at it, as I have every other monster, and then things got completely out of hand, and I got into a doorway and like was able to kind of hold them off, but then I made a really dumb move, and then the room flooded, and I was just like, well, I brought this on myself. So yeah, anyways, I'll let you go, but thank you again so much. This has been really, really interesting to watch, and very interesting on my end. Like, I don't think I was ever going to see this myself. So again, I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, pleasure to have you.
All right.
All
so
right.
yeah, that was the end of our very long episode 4, where we talked about NetHack. We'll probably be coming back to it. Yeah, I'll probably come back to this game at some point in time. There's enough to it that it's absolutely worth talking about at length. But yeah, again, thank you very much, Ebonair, and everybody check out Ebonair if you're looking to do a graphical version of the Telnet NetHack. Later.